Hi, my name is Adriane Tabag. I'm here with IdeateTV, and I'm standing here with legendary Kyle Baker. What are some things that you're working on currently?
Doing books. The Important Literary Journal is my new book.
This is hilarious, by the way.
Circuit Breaker is a new book about a robot girl. I did it for my daughters because they love manga. Is that what it is? Yeah, manga.
Yeah.
And so I was trying to do something my girls will read. And then what else is here? Hello Ladies, that's my book of pinups. I just like drawing pinup girls. And I'm starting a book called Paranormal Romance, which I have no samples of because I just started it.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I put it out as a gag. I pitched it. My friend Carla Speed McNeil, the camera's making me forget her name. Carla Speed McNeil, we were chit-chatting on the internet, and she was saying that it was a popular genre in fiction and that her next door neighbor was making a lot of money with paranormal romance. So just as a gag, I did a parody of the old 60s style romance comics.
Oh, cool.
Because actually one of my first bosses was Vince Colletta, the guy who actually drew a lot of those. Stuff that ends up in the Lichtenstein paintings. You know what I'm talking about? You know Lichtenstein painting?
No,
okay.
I'll have to...
The guy who used to, in the 60s, used to blow up the romance cartoons in the art galleries.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Right. So that's the guy, that style.
Okay.
So I do that style well. So I did just a parody of that as paranormal romance of a vampire girl kissing the creature from the Black Lagoon, and he's wearing like a Letterman's jacket.
That's
but
cool.
Suddenly everybody really liked it. It got like, it went viral and stuff, and I guess I have to do the book. So I started putting up art from the book, and everybody really liked it. So that's an interesting thing about the internet. You get immediate feedback. It's like a focus group almost.
Yeah.
Like I just did it as a throwaway. You never know what's going to work. And that's one of the reasons I like coming to these things is you never know what people are going to like and what they aren't until you put it out there and actually talk to the people and you find out. For example, I didn't know I should have brought some of these shirts.
Yeah, look at this.
This is my shirt.
shirt.
Yes. And
Bill Crosby.
Yeah. Thank you. And
Yeah,
yes.
you should bring some shirts next
Yeah,
time.
well, now I know. That's
Got
how
his
what you
own
find
clothing
out is
line.
that, yes, yesterday I had another one. But yeah, that's the kind of thing you find out when you actually talk to the people.
Absolutely.
Because we all work at home and we don't. And I haven't done this in years.
Yeah.
I kind of, it's a weird thing. I thought I had quit comics.
You thought you quit comics?
I got invited to this thing and
Okay.
I hadn't done a book since, I used to do Deadpool like years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago. I haven't done a book since then. And so I just figured out of sight, out of mind. But I was invited to this thing, so I guess I'm back in business.
You're back in business,
Yeah.
absolutely, with so many other different ventures.
Yeah,
going
I'm
on,
enjoying
too.
it, yeah.
So that's really good. How would we be able, our viewers, people in the internet world, how would we be able to purchase these shirts?
Okay,
get your
well,
books?
the name of my website is qualityjollity.com. The name of the company is qualityjollity.com,
Quality Jollity.
and they have everything, the books and the shirts and I make video games and all sorts of fun stuff.
That's pretty cool.
And you can write me if you're so inclined.
Yay, that's awesome. Well, we already talked about Sergio, how he was a big inspiration for you. But what was like a big inspiration for you to get into, into drawing, into storytelling?
My first favorite thing that I remember was Walt Disney. I saw Sleeping Beauty, Snow White when I was 5 years old in the theater. And when you're a kid, you don't get that Walt Disney didn't draw the whole thing himself, because that's the name you see on the screen. So when I was 5 years old, I was like, when I grow up, I'm going to be Walt Disney. And then that's what inspired me, and I learned how to do all that stuff and studied animation at a very young age. I used to have a Super 8 projector, if anybody remembers Super 8.
Wow.
And I would make little animated cartoons. They're probably terrible. My mother has them, so.
I bet they're not terrible. That would be something cool to get a hold of.
Yeah. Super 8 film, if anybody knows how to access those.
Yeah.
Well, we'd have to find a projector.
Would you have any advice too for anybody trying to break into the industry or?
Gosh, I guess just do it. I think it's better now than ever.
Yeah.
To one thing I like about doing everything, because like I said, I make games and I do all kinds of stuff. Because when I was started, years ago, everything was a monopoly. Like if you wanted to get your book published, there was a sort of monopoly on bookstore distribution and newsstand distribution. So you had to go through like one of the major publishers. You couldn't just get your stuff out there by yourself, or you couldn't even afford to make this. Same thing with film making. I do animated films, and at the time, it was a monopoly. There were only 3 television channels, you know, so I had to deal at Warner Bros. And you had to do whatever the hell they wanted. And then I went to Disney. But you couldn't make it yourself, and you couldn't afford to make it yourself.
Right.
But now, because of computers and everything like that, not only can you afford to make these books and things yourself, like I print these books myself, and I mean, not physically print them, but I pay for them. They're cheap enough, and it's easy enough. The technology has made everything easier that you can produce something like this and get it distributed on Amazon or whatever. You don't have to, you know, or come to a show like this, you know.
Right.
And I like that. And same thing, I'm just going to make a movie and just, I'm not even worried about the distribution. I just know there's somewhere, you know, this year, more films and TV shows were bought by Netflix and Amazon than by the majors. You know, so that's amazing how the field is opening up that way. You know, like I said, back when I started, there were only 3 venues. You know, I worked at Warner's and we sold shows to CBS, ABC, and NBC, and that was it. You know?
Huge change.
So it's wonderful. So anybody who wants to do it, I just recommend do it.
Just do it.
And the other thing is that it's becoming, in my opinion, more niche-y because of the internet. So, for example, I did a Black History book about the Turner Rebellion. And it's the kind of thing that has a very specialized interest. It's not going to do well in the superhero comic book stores.
Right.
But I knew that there's obviously a market for history books. My sister's a librarian. And she was saying that she was buying a lot of comic books to get her kids to want, you know, come into the library and read books.
Right.
And I said, well, do you have anything educational? And she said, no, but if I had anything, I would buy it. So I said, wow, there's an untapped market there. So what I like is that you can now, on the internet, locate websites or people or chat groups that are specifically about education or Black history or even Nat Turner, you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So again, you don't have to worry about being commercial. Whereas if you want to sell something to DC, they have DC Comics, they have a formula. Or if you want to be on Disney, they have a formula. But if you just want to do something about chess because you really like chess, you would be able to produce a story about chess that like only 12 people would want to read, but you could reach those 12 people and they would be your best friends. And you know, I think that's the way it's going now. That's my opinion.
Very cool. Kyle, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, make sure to check out his website.
What is this anyway?
Quality Jollity. It's got a nice ring to it. IdeateTV.
Okay.
Signing out. Thank you so much again, Kyle.
Thank you.
Adriane with IdeateTV.
Okay.